Hey everybody, Brenda Mullard from the Visual Art Academy and the Bring Your Own Brush Club. I am here to finish our cake that we started this morning. I collaged the background. That's in another video. You can find that somewhere here in the feed. But I went and I started playing around with drawing and some color, and I drew my cake on my block. Now, I would highly recommend trying to draw out your cake. It's not that hard. It's really just a series of rectangles, you know, play around with some ideas for your cake and how many you want to stack them. Bring your own brush, folks. I will have the template for this cake in the club, but on the Facebook page, but I want you to try it, drawing it first. If you're not quite sure what to do, draw it on paper first. Just play around a little bit. But I drew it on my block. I used a Sharpie marker so that you could see it. Hi, Amy. So that you could see it. I would recommend not drawing it on your block when you paint it, because it's really hard to cover up when you are trying to paint it. But I put it in marker just so that you guys would be able to see it easier. With pencil, you wouldn't have been able to see it at all. So I put it on here. And let's see, I played around a little bit with some colors first just to decide how I want to go about it. I have a go-to palette. I love, let's see, apricot orange. I love bright yellow. I love turquoise. I do love a little bit of bright magenta, lime tree green, white, black. Those are kind of my go-to colors for a lot of things. I just like how they look all together, and they're super bright and super fun. So I used variations of those colors mixed for the cake that I'm going to do. So I can put my colors here in the discussion after I'm done. But if you remember this morning, we took vintage recipes that I photocopied. Hey, Lorna. That I photocopied that were family recipes. I was not going to wreck my good ones. I photocopied them and then took them and ripped them apart and then glued them onto my wood block. It's a 2x4 that I cut down in my garage with the polyacrylic that is the satin finish. Okay, so I did that this morning. Go back and watch that video if you missed it. And then I went ahead and drew my design on top of the collage after it was dry. Okay, you have to wait till it's dry. If it's not dry, it's not going to work. So you have to wait till it's dry. I highly suggest that you play around with colors first before you start in on your wood block, and then you know, go for it, right? So I'm going to move the camera so that you can see a little bit better. Just a reminder for those of you that I got a couple messages, the Bring Your Own Brush Club is open today and tomorrow for Mother's Day. I'm just doing a 2-day Mother's Day quick flash special. So get in there if you can. It's a lot of fun. We have some wonderful people in there. It's a great time. So I am going to bring you on over, and then you can see my cake. There we go. All right, make sure that you say hi if you're here. And I have 2 screens going on at one time, so I will try to jump on and look for questions and see if I can see questions if you have them as I go. Okay? Let's see. Hey, Christine. Hey, Christina, there's 2 of you there. That's cool. All right. Can you guys see this okay? I know Lorna said she could see a spinning circle. It looks okay on my screen. Let me know if you guys can see it. Judy, can you see my cake okay? Let me know if you can see it okay. Hi, Christina. Okay. So I'm gonna get started. I kind of was playing around with almost like a frosting looking type of border along the top and bottom. I used white. I just logged in that lodged PodFed on. I'm not sure what that means, Brandy. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, Mod Podge. Oh, Mod Podge. Gotcha. We got it. Okay. So I'm gonna grab some paper towel here quick that I just threw over the top of my counter. There we go. All right. Would like to see it a little closer up for sure. Yep. I can see it on my phone, not on my laptop. Okay. Weird. I don't know if it's Facebook being naughty or what. Let me see if I can bring that down just a little bit for you. A little closer. All right. Let's get going. All right, so I'm going to start with my cake stand at the bottom. And I'm going to take a little bit of white and a little bit of black, make a gray. And then a little bit of my pink in there too. So I'm going to get kind of a off-tone kind of gray. And I'm just going to paint my cake stand. Now, if I see the words for my collage there, I'm totally okay with that. I don't mind that at all. That doesn't bother me. It's kind of cool actually to be able to see that, I think. So if I can see it, it doesn't bother me at all. I am going to need to try to take care of my lines from my marker. But like I said, I did that so that you could see it. And the funniest thing is, guys, I was playing around with some glitter paint that I have to kind of do fun, just some little glittery stuff on the frosting. And I literally have glitter all over my hands, which anybody that has ever used glitter knows. I laugh because we call it the herpes of the craft world. You can't get rid of it. It's on your hands or clothes, face, wherever, and you can't get rid of it. So I will be sharing glitter on and with everything that I probably come into contact with. Even though it's glitter paint, it's still just crazy how it just doesn't go away, which is funny. But it is what it is. Hi, Randy. Hi, Shelly. Helped a lot, thanks. Oh, good, Judy, you can see it. Good, good, good. Okay. All right. So again, I had to use a black marker just to outline my cake and stuff here so that you'd be able to see it. I had pencil, and it would have been fine for me if I was just painting it myself without showing you on camera. But because it was really hard to see, I had to go over it with a Sharpie marker, which is fine. I can still make the magic happen. So what I like to do is when I'm doing any kind of shading, most of you know I am a wet on wet kind of girl. I like to shade my paint with my other paint right on my surface that I'm painting on. And I just go ahead and mix it right where I'm painting. So I love to play with colors. Anybody that knows me or has worked with me, my Christina and Tina and Judy and everybody in our Bring Your Own Brush Club, they know that color and shading are my thing, and I love doing both. So, and I think it adds a lot to piece of work. So I really, really do a lot of projects in there with them based on that. All right, so I got some shading done. I covered up my marker on that bottom part. That's really good. All right, so I'm gonna come on up here. I'm gonna grab a little white. We're gonna work on some highlights up here. I'm gonna probably have to go, that's that light grayish pink color kind of dries quickly because it's pretty thin, so I'll have to mix up a little more of that. It's a little bit dry down here in my studio too, so it's doesn't take long for it to dry up on me. There we go. We brought it back. Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit of black just on the tip. I'm using a very small round brush, by the way, to do my painting. And again, I'm just gonna mix up and blend right on my block while it's wet. I also, what I like to do is I like to take wet paint here with a clean brush and just kind of pull it over as well and mix it that way too. I don't like solid lines in between colors at all when they should be blended, so I always make sure to blend out my colors real carefully. And I'm using bottled acrylics, nothing fancy. I always say it's, you know, you can get them pretty much any craft store, any place like Walmart, but as I'm seeing now, I'm finding craft supplies are a lot like toilet paper. You can't really find it. Our Walmart was absolutely sold out of paint yesterday. I stopped this afternoon my son was going to do a birthday parade, and they had a couple of different colors now, more than brown, just like one bottle of green, one bottle of glitter, like a silver glitter paint, but still there's not a whole lot to choose from. So, but I'm just using Apple Barrel brand today. All right. Oh, thank you, Randy. Thank you. I'm glad. If you have any other questions about anything, just let me know. I'm kind of just looking back here on my other screen just to check for questions. With this project, I wanted to show you that you can still create really fun stuff, even with supplies you have in your basement, in your garage, your art area, whatever. It's still possible. I used a block of wood out of my garage. I cut it on a saw. I have a chop saw. I cut it on my chop saw. I didn't even measure it, quite honestly, so I'm not really sure how long. It's a 2x4, so it's 2 inches by 4 inches that way. This way, I'm not really quite sure how long I want to see. Maybe 6 to 8 inches, just guessing. I didn't measure it when I cut it. I just cut them, so. Now I'm debating if I want my little frostings to be the paper, just the paper showing through. That might be kind of fun. I'm going to do one layer here with the paint, and then I'm actually going to let that dry and then come back with another layer on there just to get it a nice solid, a nice solid color. Now you can go, if you use tube paint, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to cover things up underneath better. It just means you can go thicker right away, but then sometimes it takes a little longer to dry. So I use my handy dandy hair dryer because I have zero patience to wait for stuff to dry. So I'm sure I will be pulling that out too. Is that green or yellow? It is the lime tree green. Lime tree green. And I'm going to actually use a little bit of my Christmas green and add some shading along the bottom here. So a light bright green with a darker green. And things might change just a little bit too once it's dry. I'm not sure if I'll be able to see the newsprint underneath. Part of it, like I said, part of it I don't really mind too much, but part of it I do. So as you know, art's kind of an experiment, so you just kind of play. And I use the word play because it's what it is. It truly is. Just to see what things will do. So I'll show you. I'm gonna grab my hair dryer. It might be a little noisy for a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna go for another layer because I can see now that it's dry. I can see more newsprint through there than what I would like, so I'm going to go through with another layer of paint. And I'm just gonna give it another layer. I'll go back in with some of the dark green again. And I'm okay that I have to do it again. It's not that big of a deal. I'll just keep going until I get it the way I want it to because, well, I'm just too stubborn to let the paint win. And that pretty much is what it comes down to. Pretty much what it comes down to. There we go. All right. I'm just going to go a little darker to separate my cake and my plate there. And you'll see I like to play with patterns as well, just for fun. All right. I'm pretty okay with that, I think. I am gonna hit this with a hairdryer so don't drag my hand through it. because that is exactly what I would end up doing, is dragging my hand through it. I'm going to grab a little bit of my apricot orange here, start our next layer. I'm going to let that sit because I'm not really quite sure if I want to go white like I did the border or if I want to leave the newsprint through. So we'll see. I'm just going to decide that later. So again, I'm using my apricot orange. And I'm going to grab just a little of my pumpkin orange. Let's see, my jack-o'-lantern orange, I guess it's called. And I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the green, just bringing in a little bit of dark to add some shade to it. Actually get that a little thicker right there because of that line. Mental note, guys, do not use Sharpie marker when you draw yours. It's really hard to cover up, but that's all right. That's all right. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday so far. I always say I get to and don't have to. Yes, you get to and you don't have to. That's right. All right, so I'm going to put another layer of that orange on there. This is the apricot orange. And I find the bottled acrylics are a little bit tricky because some of them, like the lime tree green is really quite thin, but this apricot orange is actually a little bit thicker. It's kind of in between a tube paint, and it's not the multi-surface either. It's the multi-surface tends to be thicker. This is not the multi-surface. This is just the regular apple barrel apricot orange. And it is a little bit thicker, which I'm okay with. I don't mind that. All right. I'm going to grab a little of that orange. May bring just a tiny bit of red in there, but we'll wait. We'll hold off a minute. We'll see if it might be enough, it might not, I don't know. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell. I am going to throw just a tiny bit of red on my palette here. And I'm going to hit this again. Thank goodness for the hairdryer. Whew. I do not have patience to wait for stuff to dry. Here's the beauty. That's a little bit darker of the red than what I want. I will just take a little bit of my orange in a minute after I'm done using my red and lighten it up just a tiny bit. It's not going to hurt anything. You can't make mistakes, guys. You just can't. I don't care. You can argue with me till you're blue in the face, but yeah, whatever you think that you made a mistake originally is going to end up being a happy accident later. right. I'm gonna hit this with just a little white in the middle, just to lighten that up, just a hair in the middle. All right. Layer 2 done. We're going to go in with a little bit of that magenta now. All right. So I have bright magenta. And I was thinking Mother's Day when I kind of planned out, this could be birthday, it could be anything, or just celebrate, right? Lord knows we don't do enough of that. I'm the worst at celebrating anything. I'm the worst. I don't know why. I don't know why. I am the worst though. All right. Actually covers up that newsprint pretty well. I think it's because it's a little bit of a darker color. That's why. Nice thing is I can use that hair dryer and then I can go right in and see where that paint is not gonna cover very well. And do another layer. Please, if you're on, say hi, let us know where you're from. I'm always amazed at all the different parts of the world that people are from that just happen to be all watching at the same time, and I think it's pretty crazy amazing. And again, looking good enough to eat. Thanks Judy. Hi Diane. If I miss a question that you might have, please ask it. I always go back through my comments just to see what's in there. So if I miss your comment or your question right away, don't worry. I'll go back and I'll find it again. All right. Let's see. I'm going to let that pink dry a little bit more. It's still just a tiny bit wet, and then I'm going to add a little bit lighter to it, and then I'm going to add polka dots to that one. So while we're waiting for that one, let's take and make our light teal here. And what'll happen is I will go back up into my flowers and I will repeat the colors that I've used down in the cake area, just because that'll tie everything together. Repeating colors is super important, guys, for unifying your artwork. No matter what you do, painting, drawing, repeating elements that you're using is very important. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry. Now I'm gonna go back down into that pink again. I'm gonna mix up just a little bit of a lighter pink. white and that magenta. And I'm going to bring some of that lightness back down here because I want to use some dark to do the polka dots in this one. But I also want to have the shading like I have in the other cakes. So using a lighter version kind of in the middle, and then I'll go back with some of the dark to blend it all out. And the darker magenta covered up that newsprint pretty nice in that area. Now in the background, I'm going to have my newsprint showing through my color, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Some people would say, why don't you just do the whole background first and then do your stuff on top? I don't like doing that because then my colors, I don't feel like they look as clean as what they would if there was no background color. So I'm thinking of doing a very light yellow on here. If I would do a light yellow, my blue would start to look a little bit green, and I don't want that. Kind of went a little too far. So that's one beautiful thing. I'm going to take a wet paper towel, and I'm just going to wipe that off right there. Like nothing ever happened. So you can see how I'm using that dark magenta just to highlight and shadow some of the areas that where it was kind of overlapping. But using some of the light pink to make that the main color of everything. Now I can see the black line coming through. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to add just a little bit of that orange on top. Let that be a lesson, guys. Do not use a Sharpie marker to draw out your stuff. It's really hard to cover up. I am going to do it though. Probably have to make just a few little adjustments to what the original plan was, but that's okay. Plans are made to be broken, right? Bring just a little bit of that light yellow in there too. Lighten things up a little bit. There we go. All right. Used to live in Florida. Oh yeah, Judy, you used to live in Florida. Now you're from Texas. Lorna's in Florida. Couple Floridians, couple of, I know Judy's from Texas. All right, so let's go in. I'm using the end of my paintbrush to get my spots, my polka dots. Oop. Pressed a little too hard on that one, but that's okay. Look around and see where I kind of need a polka dot. Now that's going to end up probably being a little bit raised. I am okay with that. I don't mind that at all. I'm actually going to go back in with my brush and I'm going to add a few little spots little half circles just to finish out making it look complete. There we go. All right. Let's go up into those flowers. I'm going to go with dark colors first, and then go in the same colors with some of the light colors, but I'm going to put those dark colors in first. And again, I'm using the same colors as I did down in the cake, maybe a different version of it, not mixed with white. But it's the same colors. And I'm just going to use all my teal first. Kind of spread that around, pick different flowers to use with that one. And then I'll go in, I'll do my, actually I'm going to go in with the jack-o'-lantern orange first. And then I'll go in with the lighter to add some of the highlights and things. It's much easier to go in with the dark color first and then overlap with the light. And you'll see, I'm not going for realism, clearly, but you're going to get the idea that there are flower petals. All right, I'm going to grab my yellow and I'm going to grab my magenta, and then I may have to go in and repeat some of those other colors here in a little bit, but let me do the yellow and magenta and things first. I'm going really thick with the yellow just because I know it's going to be really kind of difficult to cover up, so I'm definitely going to have to hit this with my hair dryer before I go on, otherwise it's not gonna be dry. And even the yellow, since I'm doing it so thick, I may have to kind of wait a little bit to do some things with that. Let's do that one inside there. Okay, and then now let's hit it with that magenta. Oh, I need a little more on my palette. Christina is from Texas. Yes. I know she just said her Hobby Lobby was open again. That's exciting. So I'm going real thick with my magenta as well. And I can kind of see where my teal is drying already, that it's showing through some. So I'm going to go back over some of the teal areas just with a little bit of more teal. I'm going to go in with my lime tree green to start with. I'm going to add some of the Christmas green to it for those leaves, but I'm just going to start out with the lime tree green. And I'm going pretty thick. to start off with. Okay. I'm going to use my hair dryer real quick again. Take a little longer just because it's so thick. I'm going to go with a little bit of teal since this is dry. You can see how I need to kind of skip around a little bit as things dry and as I have to let them sit. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's see. So I'm just kind of pushing over that light, or the dark, I'm sorry, the dark teal over the lighter teal, and I'm going to grab just a little more white. My white tends to get contaminated from other colors, so I'm going to grab a little more white here. And I'm really carefully, I missed a little, oh wait, no, that's the border, never mind. I missed a flower right there, but I didn't. Okay, so I'm just using my white to lighten back up again and blend it on right on the painting. Again, that's my wet on wet technique. And as I was saying earlier, guys, the Bring Your Own Brush Club, I'm opening it up for 2 more days, for today and tomorrow, for Mother's Day. So if you want to get in, I'll drop the link after I'm done. We have some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful members in there, and I love them dearly. And we have a great community. I'm very fortunate. Very fortunate. All right. Let's see. Those polka dots got a little messy, but I'm okay with that because I'm going to do something with that here when I'm done with some of this other stuff and all this paint is dry. I don't mind that at all. It's going to be fine. Hi, Kelly. All right, I'm going to go in with my bright yellow. Oops, accidentally grabbed another color here. I'm going to take it right out of my bottle just because I know my palette's a little bit dirty. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my bright yellow. Now remember, this stuff is not done yet, guys. I'm just letting it dry. I'm just letting it sit. I'm painting with my bright yellow, but I still want to see my newsprint underneath, so I'm not going to do a second coat. And I am going to use my small round brush just around my subject areas here, my cake and my plate and all that kind of stuff. And then I can use a bigger brush once I get to points that I don't have to worry about covering up stuff on accident. Now, if you do this painting, use the colors that you want to use. You do not have to use the colors that I use. I hope that you know that. You can use whatever colors you want, and if you want to draw your cake and stuff different, do it. I encourage you to try new things and make it your own. I'm happy to share my stuff, and just like I just said, I just told everybody in the Bring Your Own Brush Club, the scanned papers that I used this morning are in there for you already. And I will be putting the template for the drawing of the cake, but you don't have to use it. If you want to draw your own, I really highly encourage you. I know Judy is an amazing, she would fight me on it. She would fight me on it, but Christina says it's a lot of fun. Thank you, Christina. I'm so glad you are in there. You are an amazing member. I am so fortunate to have you in there. Judy is one of our members also, and she has really taken off, and she'd probably say that she hasn't and argue with me about that, but Judy has been able to draw her own things and play around with some of her own ideas, and I'm so proud of her. There's different places you are in your artistic journey, and everybody's in a different spot. There is no right or wrong. There's always a beginning, but is there really ever an ending? I'm not so sure about that. But in your artist success path, there are different levels that you hit. And I've been so fortunate and so blessed to be able to help these wonderful women hit the different levels that they are working toward. Christina, I'm the problem child. No, you're not. Oh my gosh, you're so funny. I love you. You're so funny. All right, so some of you are probably saying, you can't see the yellow flowers. You will. You will, you will. Don't worry. All right, so I'm just kind of finishing. Oops, I just got a little bit of yellow on my white, which is not a big deal. I can go back and repaint that as I need to. All right, so I'm gonna grab this along the top, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my bigger flat brush, and I wrapped my collage around the side of the block. And so then I'm also, as you can see, I wrapped the white. I don't know if you can tell that it's a little bit glittery. And I did that on this side too. So I wanted to play around with that glitter crystal. It's like crystal paint. Glitter crystal, diamond is the name of the color. It's kind of fun. I am not a glitter girl by any means. Anybody that knows me well knows I am not glitter. I don't like glamour. I'm more of a sweatshirt and jeans kind of gal. And I'm not a huge fan of glitter, but every once in a while I will use it just to kind of accentuate something that I'm working on, because I know it'll fit with what I'm doing. So that's why I pull it out every once in a while. All right. So let me go back. I need to try to cover up some of these lines with the marker. The marker is going to be my enemy today, I have a feeling. As one of my member Tina last night, we were working through one of her paintings that she was working on, and she had asked me, why do you not give up? Like, you don't give up. Why do you not give up? And I told her I'm too stubborn to let the paint beat me. And in this case, I'm too stubborn to let the marker beat me. So I will do what I need to do to make sure that that does not happen. And all it is just going over that line just a little farther than what I kind of first originally planned on, so that it covers it up. Oops. So I'm just going over those flowers again. Like I kind of said before, the hair dryer is my friend today. Grab a little of that teal right there. There we go. All right, I am going to actually grab a tiny bit of chocolate brown. I'm going to do just kind of like a tabletop. I don't like my cake plate just floating in the air. And I'm going to have to go back and kind of clean up my white a little bit, but that's fine. I don't mind doing that. So I have to do it on the side because I wrap my colors. I always suggest that you do the same. I know some people hate doing that, but I think it just makes it look a lot more finished. The yellow is bringing it out. Okay, thank you. Glad you like that, Judy. Okay, and then I kind of go whoop. This is where it would start on this side. I'm using my small flat brush. I'm being really careful. To not accidentally get it on my cake plate here. This brush doesn't have the best control with the bristles, but it's working okay, so I'm just gonna go with it. Like I said, I'm gonna have to go back and clean up my white, but that's not a big deal. And then once again, bring this over. What I'll probably end up doing on the back is I'll just paint it black just to have it finished so it's just not a piece of wood. Okay. All right. Hi, Charlotte. Thanks for joining us. All right, now I'm going to start playing around with those flowers. Let's make them look more like flowers. So I'm going to take a little bit of white on my very sharp tip round, small round brush. And there's some wet magenta up here. I am going to just take the tip of my brush and I'm going to just kind of pull some colors of the white in there so it almost looks like little tops of petals. I'm going to do that to all of my magentas first. Now if you get a part that's just too much white, just grab a little magenta and drag that back through. Okay. It's a little bit hard to see at the angle that I'm at, so I'm just kind of keep playing around just to see where you go with it. Get to the point that you like it and then stop. Okay. I'm going to grab a little of my teal, get some of this teal wet again. And then grab a little white. Same thing, that's why I do the dark color underneath first, because it's a lot easier to bring the white on top. Hi, Deb. Okay, so that teal's dry. Watch this, not a big deal. If I overlap a little bit with the flowers, it does not matter at all. I'm really just taking my brush and just going in kind of like little circles. I paint a lot like I shade with a colored pencil, which I know sounds really weird. But I do tend to almost shade it like I was using a colored pencil. It works for me. Okay. So we have our teal flowers, we have our magenta flowers. Now I'm going to go in with my orange. And in this one, I think I'm going to bring a little more of that red into my orange, just so I get more of a reddish orange. We'll try that first. If it's too dark, I can always go back and lighten it up. Oops. And then I'll add some of the white. kind of mixing up a little more of that orange. Okay. Now I'm going to grab a little more of the white. There we go. I don't want to use more yellow in that orange just because of the yellow flowers. So I just want to go in with orange and white and maybe some of the red to make more of a reddish orange, just to give it all the different values and so it shows up nice. In the next couple of weeks in the Bring Your Own Brush Club, we're going to start playing around with backgrounds that have texture. And I'll show you kind of real quick. I've started playing around with, again, regular household different things. This is joint compound that you can buy in the hardware section or the painting section of a store. It's where it's what you patch up your nail marks with before you paint. I've been playing around with that to be able to do textures and things, and it's a lot of fun. So our next lesson is We Scream for Ice Cream, but after that, for the rest of May and into June, we're going to be working on creating textures for a background and then using that textured background to paint. This is one I did with tissue paper and gesso and creating some really fun textures with that. So that's what's coming up. And that was a fun one. So all my ladies, that check the events section in the Bring Your Own Brush Club, girls, because it's all in there already for you. For when we go live. The lessons we do are live, but they are recorded, so if you can't make a live lesson, don't worry about it. We try to make it as easy as possible. I know everybody's schedule is kind of crazy, and sometimes we don't know what we will be able to do when we can do it, and I do try to do right now, since I'm teaching from home, I am able to do a few different time slots versus just after school or in the evening. So, all right, I'm gonna grab a little of my Christmas green. I'm gonna water it down. I'm gonna bring some of that into leaf here. Kind of the same colors I had down at the bottom. I'm getting some of those again. More watered down so it's a little more see-through. Diana. Welcome, glad you're here. Now, I love playing with paint, but I also love playing with different backgrounds. I love playing with textures. So I don't necessarily always just want to paint on a canvas and call it good. I love painting on wood. I love painting on different collage textures. So I love playing around with different things, different ideas for painting, not just a solid canvas, because that can kind of get a little boring. I did do burlap, a burlap door hanger of a gnome, a little Valentine gnome. It's a gnome with a little heart in his hands, so it could really be any time of year, but so I painted on some burlap. That lesson is in the Teachable shop, but members, you also have access to all of that. What else have I painted on? I love old palettes, taking old palettes apart and painting on old palettes, sanding them down and priming them, and that's really fun. So I'm bringing my members some different experiences, not just canvas painting. It's fun, but there's other things to experiment with too. So, and any of these images can be painted on anything. It can be painted on canvas, it can be painted on wood, it can be painted on whatever. All right. Oh, let's see. I have to, whoa, do I test to make this a little darker back here? I almost feel like I need to. Maybe just around the cake a little bit. I'm a little nervous, but we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it. I'm gonna do just a really light white across here, because I am going to bring in some of the glitter on top, and I want that to be dry when I do that. So I was debating whether I wanted to leave it just the print, but I can still see the print through, so I'm okay if I do a little bit of white. I think it needs a little bit of white, especially up here around the cake. So I'm making that judgment call. If you do this and make a different judgment call, awesome. I think I had a little teal flower there, but I'm going to cover that up with frosting, I think. There we go. And come on down here and do the same. I have a little piece of something that's sticking up there. I don't know if it was a piece of paint that's sticking up or... So I'm just kind of repainting in that scalloped little design I had for the frosting. And I can still see some of the print through, so that's okay. So that worked out well. I'm gonna actually turn this around and just clean this up a little bit. It's a little hard to see from the other angle, so I'm gonna put it my way for just a minute. There we go. Okay. Now I'm gonna kind of go in, I'm gonna add some little highlights to those spots, but I think I'm gonna go all the way around on some of them here. Actually, let me grab my liner brush. That might work a little bit better. A liner brush is a round brush, but it's got a very, very tiny tip on it. And I am gonna water that down just a little bit. Now I'm not tracing it so that they're perfectly all the way around my dots. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and clean some of this up though. Did get a little out of hand. There we go. It just adds a little extra design. You can see the circles a little bit better now. So that's all good. And I still see that black line, so I'm gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep covering it up. And if it keeps showing through, I'm gonna just keep covering it up. Because once again, I will not let the paint beat me. Okay. All right, I'm gonna grab actually a little bit of this apricot orange and I'm gonna water it down. I'm gonna try first, I'm gonna try just a little bit of that along the edge and then blend it out. It needs a little something to bring out that cake and bring it a little forward. And I think that's exactly what it needed right there. I was thinking brown, but I don't want to get it real muddy. And what I mean by muddy, it just makes your colors aren't nice and bright anymore. So I don't want to make it muddy. Gotta interrupt a minute. Yep. If you have to hit it with white. Okay. Oh, for where the line's showing through? Yeah. Yep, I could do that too. Good call, Judy. Good call. All right, so that little bit of the apricot orange in between and then having it fade out is exactly what that needed. I love it now. That was perfect. I'm glad I did not use brown. I'm glad I used that instead. And I watered it down. It makes it look a lot richer. The color is so much richer. So that was really what that needed. And it doesn't cover up the print, so it's perfect. That really brings it forward. Yes, yes, I agree. And it's just a tiny, tiny bit. Like it's amazing what will happen when you just change a line, a color, a shade. It can just change the entire piece. Usually for good. sometimes for bad, but usually for good. And then you just go back in and figure it out. Again, this is the apricot orange. And I'm just using it a little bit watered down, and then what I'm also doing is taking a wet brush, clean brush, and just blending some of that out so that way it isn't dark and you can still see color through it, but it just gives it that extra shade of orange that makes everything kind of pop forward. I am going to play around. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of the brown just up here around this yellow. And then I'll probably use it over there on that side just a little bit too, just to bring out the yellow. And I may hit that yellow with just a little more white as well. Yeah, that was good. That was good. So tiny, tiny bit of chocolate brown next to the yellow. And then I just blend that in with my orange just so that it isn't super dark, but it just kind of pops it all forward. I'm actually gonna go a little more on this side, like I did on that side. It almost kind of gives it a little bit of an antique-y look as well, which is really fun. If I get too much, pop a little bit off with my paper towel. Perfect. There we go. I may bring a little bit of that brown up underneath too, just because I have the brown down here. Again, repeating color, so that's a good thing. There we go. All right. Could even be used for a graduation celebration card. Absolutely. I blab a lot, but sure want to learn from your comments. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes. All right, so let me grab a tiny bit of this brown. I'm going to take a nice clean brush and just kind of push it up into parts of that scalloped edge, but not too much. And then I can come back and just clean that up like I said I was going to earlier. And then I'll just put more glitter on top. There we go. I'll go down here and fix up that bottom as well. As long as I'm doing it, I might as well just do both parts of it. And I just hand painted the scallops so that they're not perfect. I'm okay with that. There are some things I'm really perfectionist about, and there's other things that I'm okay with not being super perfect. I don't know why, but grab it there. I am going to use one of my bigger brushes, and I'm just bringing a little of that orange on the side because I always wrap my colors, as you all know. Okay. Well, that came on the front. That's all right, though. All right. Bring a little bit of that brown on the side here. Again, just wrapping that color. I'm going to take my bigger brush and just pull that down. Same thing on this side. This would be a great design for a birthday card too. Clean this up. Go. All right. All right. What do you think so far, everybody? You take the cake, you deserve it. Yeah. Graduation celebration, yeah. Those are great ideas, Judy. Love that. Let's see. I am going to take my little liner brush. Actually, no. I am going to take my sharpened pencil. And we're going to add another element here. I'm going to add some little dots with a sharpened pencil. I dip it in my black paint. Make sure you're going straight up and down so you get actually a circle, not a dash. And I am going to add some little dots to the scallops that I got going on. Just another element of value. And you'll see that you will be able to, with that glitter, you can, I don't know if you can see the little bit of that glitter that's on there now, especially that corner. You'll be able to see the color right through it. It shows right through. So I'm going to do glitter, 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 glitter. And I'm debating if I should do polka dots on those as well, since I'm doing it around the border. back and make these a little bigger. I didn't have a lot of paint on my pencil when I did those. That one I kind of blooped a little bit, so I'm going to end up going back just to fix it because you know that'll bother me. Alright, so I'm going to wipe off my pencil. Can't see the glitter. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. It's really light. It's a really light little shimmer. So it's you can see it if you're up close to it, but it is a little bit hard to see if you're far away. And I am going to need to definitely hit it with a hair dryer before I do too much. So I do want to clean up some of these little spots I got on hand though. Or it just looks too much. All right, let me grab a little more black. I think that those little dots are going to make a little extra design in the top too. So I want to do those as well. But I want to be really careful. Again, if you don't like the dots for yours, don't add the dots. But it is going to add just a little extra design element to that. A little bit of pattern. So I'm going to go in with my liner brush and I'm just going to add some real little lines. I may do that with a permanent marker instead. I think the brush might be too heavy because I want them super thin. No, maybe not. Maybe it's okay. I just want to add a little extra interest to these flowers here. Even though it's mixed, the colors are mixed, I still want to just add a little extra something to them. So I have my thin liner, thin liner brush. And I'm actually going to add some little leaf lines as well. And I barely have any paint on the tip of my brush. I don't know if you can see that, but just a real little bit of paint on there. Just continue to add some of those little lines in there. Still have that one little flower down here. I'm just going to hit this too with a little bit of that lime tree green. Lighten it up just a little bit. Just kind of hit some of those leaves with a highlight of the lime tree green that's lightened up with a little bit of white. Soften that up with a clean wet brush. There we go. All right. Let me hit this with, oh, I forgot a little flower down there. I just saw that right now. We're gonna add a little teal on top, just got a little too dark for my taste. There we go. Got some cute little lines in there, but not anything that changes it. And I'm going to come on in here and make those a little brighter. Now that I'm looking at, there's some parts of those orange little flowers that are a little muddy. The red brought it in just a little too much with that orange. So I'm going to go back in and just give it a couple little kisses of that light orange again and bring that back in. All right, Judy, I am going to follow your idea. I'm going to paint a little bit of white right here because I just cannot get rid of those marker lines. So I'm going to paint it white first and then go back with some of that tangerine orange or the nectarine orange once it's dry. Let's hit this with a hairdryer real quick. Grab some of that jack-o'-lantern orange again. My paints are starting to dry out already. There we go. Hopefully when that's dry, we won't see that stuff anymore. Hopefully, right? Okay, glitter. Now I have this glitter. It's fabric, it's made to be fabric paint, but I am going to use it on my wood because, well, let's be real, I very rarely, hey Lisa, I very rarely use a lot of things the way that they're supposed to be used. So I am going to take my palette here. I'm going to try to find a clean spot. I'm going to squeeze a bunch on there. And with this glitter paint, the thing about it is that it goes on looking very milky, but it does dry really quite clear. And it just gives it that little shimmer of glitter. Like I said, I don't like something that screams glitter, but every once in a while, I'll just want to add a little bit of shimmer to something. And I have found one of the best ways to do it, and this is, like I said, fabric. It's actually like made for fabric, and it's a little bit thicker. So I could trace, I could trace my little scallops if I wanted to. I'm going to use the brush on them just because I don't want it quite that thick. But it is really fun. It just adds a little extra something to your painting. I'm going to come on up here and add it up here too, since I'm wrapping the colors. Because it is thick though, you do have to be careful you don't get little goobers and globbies all over the place. All right. Wash out my flat brush, and I'm going to grab them for my small round brush. And I'm going to go with the glitter kind of on the little. Now, like I said, it'll look like I'm covering it up, but it will dry clear. It'll have the shimmer there, but it'll be clear. Now once this is all done and dry, I'll let it dry for a few good hours. And then what I will do is I will take some Krylon triple thick crystal clear spray paint. I love the Krylon triple thick. It almost looks like a really thin layer of clear epoxy on it. It's really nice. I love it. I'll just take and give everything a good spray with that triple thick, and it'll put a beautiful shine on everything. It'll seal everything really nice. I just love it, and I love a gloss finish. I know not everybody does. You can use a clear spray paint that has a different finish, satin or flat or whatever. But personally, I love gloss. I feel like it's almost, I've said it before, it's like dropping a stone in water. The colors just wake up even more than what they already are. And it just adds another layer of interest and dimension and beautifulness. So like this one was flat. The colors were flat, but I threw some of that clear on it, and it's just beautiful. It just makes that background, the background colors pop even more. It's just, I love it. I love it. All right. Trying to decide if I need anything else. This is where I go through, do my walkthrough as I call it. And I'll go back and fix and adjust and make a few little changes here and there. Felt like that needed to be a little bit darker on that side, so do the same thing on right here. I think I need my small round for that. The liner brush is just too thin. And I have tiny line I see between my colors there. I don't want that. So I'll take and blend that out a little bit. Just a real thin line. That's more of a shadow. Do the same thing there. I got a little thick on me, so I'm going to go back and take some of that off with my clean brush. Didn't want it quite that thick. Lisa, I'm late. It's okay. You can go back and rewatch this. It's okay. No worries. I have to say this orange is really giving me a run for my money. I'm going to grab just a tiny bit. My palette's getting kind of full. Some of my Christmas green, I'm going to just water it down just a tiny bit, tiny bit. And then I'm going to bring that down into here a little more. Whoops. All right, let me hit this with a hairdryer real quick, just so you can kind of start to see the black dots coming through again on the top. They were kind of covered up like this is down here. There you go. You can kind of see them coming through. There you go. You can start to see them popping through as it dries. So I just wanted to kind of show you that real quick. Here's a close-up look, everybody. So pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry totally. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to go with that clear spray and just give it a good coat of that spray. I can't look at it too much longer because I know I'm going to start picking it apart, which it's just what I do. So I know I'm going to have to just stop looking at it for a while. Again, I'm going to turn myself this way. Hi. I just want to say thanks for joining me, everybody. Again, please, we'd love to have you in the Bring Your Own Brush Club. If you are interested in joining us there, we've got a great group of girls in there, and we have a lot of fun. It's just, we do projects all the time. There's extra bonuses in there all the time. My girls will attest to it. We have a private Facebook group, which is wonderful for sharing our ideas and asking for help. So we have a really good time in there. But anyway, if you didn't catch this total video, you can watch it after I am off and review everything. And then if you do this project, I would love to see what you come up with. I would love to see what you come up with. So make sure that you post a picture here. I'm going to give you a little homework. Post a picture here on the in the feed, and let us see what you come up with. So if you like this, please give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me a something or other. Let me know that you got a lot out of this, and I'd appreciate it. So have a great rest of the night, guys. I may be on again. I don't know. It's been a busy day, and I have a lot of things to paint. So I may be on again tonight yet, so kind of keep your eyes open, and I will see you all very, very soon. Have a great rest of your afternoon.